The New Testament lesson will be read from Philippians chapter 1, verses 3 through 11. I thank my God upon every remembrance of you, always in every prayer of mine, making request for you all with joy, for your fellowship in the gospel from the first day until now, being confident of this very thing, that he who has begun a good work in you will complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. Just as it is right for me to think this of you all, because I have you in my heart, inasmuch as both in my chains and in the defense and confirmation of the gospel, you are all partakers with me of grace. For God is my witness, how greatly I long for you all with the affection of Jesus Christ. And this I pray, that your love may abound still more and more in knowledge and all discernment, that you may approve the things that are excellent, that you may be sincere and without offense till the day of Christ, being filled with the fruits of righteousness which are by Jesus Christ, to the glory and praise of God.
Here now the Word of God is recorded in the Gospel according to Luke, the 12th chapter, 6th through 21st verse, reading from the New Century Version. Then Jesus told this story. There was a rich man who had some land which grew a good crop. He thought to himself, "What will I do? I have no place to keep all my crops." Then he said, "This is what I will do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger barns, and there I will store all my grain and other goods. Then I can say to myself, I have enough good things stored up to last for many years. Rest, eat, drink, and enjoy life." But God said to him, "Foolish man, tonight your life will be taken from you. So who will get these things you have prepared for yourself? This is how it will be for those who store up things for themselves and are not rich toward God."
I want to thank you for your attendance today, for this is a day in which we bless both the church and the college and honor God for the favor we've obviously received here. This is one of two bookend gatherings that we have in the school year. At the beginning, we have the Church College Celebration Day. At the end of the year, we have Baccalaureate. And these bookend services, the Alpha and the Omega, they put us in mind, in remembrance of why we do what we do here at Lindsey Wilson College. And I am honored especially to be a part of this incredible faculty and staff here on the remarkable Lindsey Wilson team. What a story it's been working here. And at the same time, I'm equally blessed to be counted as one of the clergy, one of the company of the committed. So I decided to wear a clerical collar and an academic robe to fit in both. And we especially want to welcome our clergy and other visitors here on the advent of our 5-year degree programs at Lindsey Wilson. That's 4 years of study preceded by a year of finding a parking space. But that's a good problem, right? That's a good problem to have here. And it really isn't much of a problem when you think if you have to walk just 3 minutes to get from the parking lot to your office door. That's a health benefit, really. And of course, part of it is we have a record enrollment. And I've been here so long, I remember very well, as a few others, when we got 1,000 students about 21 years ago, because I wanted to go out and say, we have 1,000 tongues to sing our great Redeemer's praise from that old hymn. And now we say we have 2,000 tongues to sing, 2,000 lives to impact and teach and grow. You see, our church relatedness is foundational to our mission. And having bookend services like these keep us from kind of an historical, institutional amnesia that occurs at many private colleges. I get to speak at many different places over the course of a year. And I want you to know that there's not one single message that I think on more all year, pray on more. Asking God and trying to ascertain what is the word that we really need to hear at our church college community this year, right now. In the Old Testament, yearly, the people of God would gather, and all of them would stand before God and their priests. Some of our Lindsey Wilson singers have to stand during this service. And they would hear the word. They would hear the critical word that they needed to hear in that moment of time for their lives. And our lives, our work, is no less important than theirs. This is a room filled with wonderful, giving, altruistic individuals. And this time is no less important. We have a great mission as an extension arm of the church, and this is who we are for this time in history. And I have a phrase that has stayed with me for months, a thought that has captivated me. It is the desire that has lit up within me much like a pilot light that comes alive within a furnace. And I use that term pilot light deliberately because it's such an enlightening thought that it pilots me towards the things that matter most in life. And it comes from the gospel story that Dr. Begley read a moment ago. It's a story told by Jesus about a man who put his life's energy in one direction. He tells about a person who, frankly, devoted his life to the things that we spend most of our time doing, investing his life in his work, in which he had done very well. He had gained financial security, which is important. And it's okay to enjoy the pleasures of eating and drinking and being merry. But he had come to a place in his life where he was satisfied. And he says to his soul, his essence, "You're doing well, soul. Now relax. Enjoy the fruit of your labors for many years." But then he dies that very night. And Jesus offers an equally frank diagnosis. See, Jesus doesn't say that he was a bad person or an evil person or anything like that. He just used one word. He says, foolish. The man was foolish. And there is a phrase that comes after that, and that is the one I have latched onto. Why was he considered foolish? Because Jesus said his soul was not rich towards God. He may have been rich in every other way, financially, family, friends, relationships, health, degrees. He probably went to church or synagogue, but his soul was not rich towards God. You see, as a person who lives in an academic setting, in this college, we're a group of people who seek after wisdom. We love wisdom here. Many persons have a doctor of philosophy degree. To say you speaking of philosophy means you love wisdom. You love what is right and true. And I could never be more stunned or devastated than if someone looked at my life and said, "Terry, you are foolish. You missed it. Your ladder of success was propped up against the wrong wall." God forbid that would be my legacy or the legacy of Lindsey Wilson College. You know, every year I go away for a personal retreat, and usually I go to a monastery in Nelson County, the Abbey of Gethsemane. Some of you have gone there before on personal retreats as well. If you want a quiet place, go there. And when I get there, I realize how noise has stained me, how the values of a sometimes poisonous culture have latched onto me. And to much of the world, it seems irrelevant that 80 men spend their lives there 7 times a day, starting at 3:30 in the morning, going to worship and to pray for the world. But somehow for me, it puts my life in proper perspective, and I spend the day there thinking about my life and examining my motives and praying for the work of God that we're involved here on this campus. I mean, if you live to be 80 years old, that's 29,000 days. Surely we could give up one day out of those 29,000 just to spend listening to God. And in our gospel stories, when Jesus would speak, kind of like E.F. Hutton, people would listen because he had a way of presenting truths that absolutely mesmerized audiences, searing truths that would cut to the heart of the matter. In fact, commonly before he would speak, Jesus would say a phrase. And many of you know this preface. He would say, "Verily, verily, I say unto you," right? You heard of that. Or he could better translate it, "Truly, truly, I say unto you."